Something weird happens when you pilot the breakthrough. Enemies just stop existing. Not killed, just gone. Popped out of reality like they were never there. I don't fully understand why it happens, but given how much firepower this mech is packing, maybe they were right to stop existing. Even return to their home planet in some cases. This is the Exo-55 Breakthrough. It is the only melee mech we have right now that lets you wade into a D10 bot drop and take them all on like you are Optimus Prime. Slap around behemoth chargers, snap the hips off harvesters, and wrestle multiple hulks at once. This mech is built to bully the big threats with no fear. However, for all the strength the breakthrough carries, it does have a few weaknesses. But as long as you know what you're doing and know which fights to avoid, you can practically keep your mech battling for an entire mission, most of the time. So first things first, let's get to know a little more about the breakthrough, specifically about its weapons, starting with the shield. The breakthrough's shield has a rock-solid 5000 HP, 80% durability, and mostly covered in medium armor. This makes it practically resistant to small arms fire and can absorb a lot of punishment. Sounds almost indestructible, right? Except there's a section on the right side that is light armor that is also tied directly to the arm's 600 HP pool. Not the shield, the arm, which means concentrated arms fire, basic infantry and chaff that you would normally laugh at, can strip your entire shield arm long before you've taken meaningful damage anywhere else. This explains why I tend to lose an entire arm long before my durability is anywhere near low. Now, when it comes to offensive power, the shield bash attack hits for 500 standard damage and 500 durable damage at AP 4, making it very effective at bullying all sorts of enemies. Notably, it can punch through charger carapace and Hulk armor, and when combined with its high stagger force, you can basically stop a charger in the middle of their charge and stunlock tanky enemies into submission. The shield bash attack range is in a small cone in front of where your shield extends outwards to. Enemies on the left side of the shield bash aren't going to be hit, and neither are those who are standing a little further to the right. That being said, your attacks can cleave multiple enemies at once if they are within the cone. So if enemies happen to bunch up like these couple of hulks have here, you can slam both of them in the face with your shield at once. Importantly, it also has a demolition force of 40, and this allows you to break down most walls and structures that are in the way, clearing a path for you and your allies to advance and living up to its namesake. As for the scattergun, it is a beast of a weapon. It fires a gigantic shot of 40 pellets, each dealing 90 standard and 30 durable damage for a total of 3600 standard damage and 1200 durable damage at point blank. It also has AP4, which means, like the shield, you can absolutely shred chargers and hulks alike. The scattergun holds 6 in the chamber and comes with a reserve of 64 rounds, giving you a total capacity of 70 rounds to distribute. And when combined with its 180 RPM, you can unload your chamber really quickly for a huge burst of damage. It also reloads 1 round at a time, which normally can't be interrupted. But if you bring up and close your map while reloading, you can stop and shoot immediately after. This is helpful for clutch situations like stopping a bot from raising a flare. As powerful as the weapon is, there are some drawbacks to it. First, it has a gigantic spread for each of its shots. This means your pellets are going to disperse over a much wider area soon after the shot is made. Secondly, the scattergun also has a heavy 120% drag force tied to it. This means it loses damage very fast at range and is most effective point blank to around maybe 10 meters or so. These two weapons together make the breakthrough a close quarters bully that shreds heavily armored enemies. On the flip side, it means you absolutely struggle at taking out enemies who are far away, like gunships. Though if they are close enough, you can actually still one-shot them with a well-placed shot. But to get a clearer picture on just how much punishment the breakthrough can dish out to enemies, let's run it down faction by faction. Starting on the bug front. Alpha Commanders are a pushover for the breakthrough, capable of blasting its head clean off with a single shot or with 2 punches with the shield. This is basically an oversized warrior to you. Behemoth chargers can be killed with 2 shots from the scattergun to the face at point blank. Alternatively, you can shield bash it to death with around 7 hits to the head. If you want to conserve a bit of ammo, you can instead punch it in the leg to break away its carapace and then kill it with a single shot to the fleshy bits. How you want to take it out is really going to depend if you are under pressure or not. Impalers can be absolutely wrecked with a single shot to its eyes when its faceplate is down, but if you want to get physical and pound it to death, I find I consistently take it down in about 4 hits straight to its face even when its faceplate is up. No idea why, but it works. Bile spewers can be knocked out with a well-placed butt shot with the scattergun, or you can punch it in the face and it will go down in a couple of hits. Lastly, Bile Titans can be brought down in as little as 2 scattergun shots to the head at close range. Depending on your distance and the spread of each shot, you might end up using as much as 6 rounds. As for shield bashing it, I know you can bring it down and I've seen videos of other people doing it, but in my experience, my mech usually ends up getting stepped on and breaking if I do. So I would avoid meleeing the Bile Titan and just blast it in the face. This is what your ammo is meant for after all. Bugs are where the breakthrough feels at home, but bots are where you'll truly test your might as a melee mech. Both scouts and reinforced striders can be knocked out in one close-range scattergun blast or a single shield bash. Berserkers and Devastators are a little bit of a mixed bag because of how difficult it is to consistently land the same strike twice. On occasion, I've been able to one-shot Devastators, ripping them in half with a single hit. Other times, I need 2 punches to do the same. Worst case, I end up breaking both of their arms before taking them out with the next hit. As for the scattergun, a well-placed shot to their chest or face will instantly delete it if you are close enough. Hulks can be taken out with a single shot to the eye at close range, but require between 4 to 5 hits if you smack them in the body. Alternatively, you can blow up their heatsink with 1 round and they'll explode shortly after. Tanks are a little bit more of a challenge to deal with, mostly because the mech isn't very fast and you risk getting shredded and blasted to bits. But if the opportunity does arise, the Annihilator tank can be taken out with as little as 2 to 3 shots to the engine bay or 1 clean shot to the vent at the back of the turret. The same applies to the Shredder tank. Barrage tanks can be taken down from a fair distance with between 2 to 3 shots to the rocket tubes. I'm pretty sure I can one-shot it if you are at point blank, but I wasn't going to risk trying to do that by eating a rocket to the face, so 3 shots it was. Factory Striders are something that you should avoid if they still have their main guns on them, because you are a prime target for getting blasted into pieces with how slow you move. I would not recommend engaging the Factory Strider directly, and instead taking out its armaments from afar first. If you manage to engage them, you can take them down by blasting it into its eye hole from the front. This will take around 6 shots. If you want to conserve some ammo, then you're going to have to blast it in the belly, which can only be done from behind. This takes half the ammo at around 3 shots. The squids on the other hand look manageable on paper, and they mostly are, except for one enemy that will strip your shield arm faster than anything else in the game. Against Overseers, they can take between 1 to 3 scattergun shots usually. If you are lucky, it's a one shot depending on your pellet spread, so the closer you are, the more likely you get a one shot. If you want to punch them with the shield, they go down in about 3 hits, sometimes 2 depending on where the hit was placed. Flesh mobs are your favorite thing to bully amongst the squids. They are big, fleshy, and a real bullet magnet for your scattergun, capable of one-shotting them if your pellets land just right. Most of the time, it will take 2 shots to the upper torso. Punching it, however, can take some time. From my testing, it's kind of inconsistent, often between 6 to 9 punches to its faces. If you've got the time, punching it can be fun, otherwise too short to take it out quickly. Harvesters are both an easy kill and a very annoying target to deal with. On one hand, a single shot breaks its shield and another well-placed shot to its hip joint brings it down. On the other hand, they have insanely far reach and their laser beam can deal some serious damage to your armaments. I would avoid trying to approach it directly and wait for it to come to you instead. Veracitors and Gatekeepers are also a speciality of the breakthrough. 2 clean shots can bring one down, one to break the cockpit shield and another to wipe out the pilot. Because your scattergun has AP4, you can also kill them by shooting them in the upper leg or the joint, both of which are fatal. While I don't recommend it, you can also punch your way through them by breaking their legs. The hitbox is kind of wonky, but going for the cockpit and or the legs are your best bet. Having thoroughly tested the breakthrough against all factions, I think I have a pretty good idea on what it's good at and what you shouldn't be using it against. Against the bugs, the most dangerous enemy to you are actually bile spewers. While they are relatively weak and can be taken down easily, in the higher difficulties they come in big swarms. Getting your scattergun hit by their bile spew is a sure way to get it destroyed in the blink of an eye. At the same time, punching it can be risky because if you put yourself in the thick of the action, and Lord knows if you accidentally punch one of their butts and cause it to explode, that is going to deal a sizable amount of damage to your shield arm too. I don't like fighting bile spewers because it forces you to keep some distance or risk losing your mech early. Fighting them also means using more ammo on them rather than on bile titans or chargers. They are manageable, but not the best to brawl against. Against bots, just don't bring the mech against cyborgs. You aren't very fast, and you and I both know that a Vox engine appearing 50 meters away from you is going to shred you to pieces. Against squids, while you can easily handle their veracitors and gatekeepers, and harvesters can be managed with positioning, those stupid floating squid Doritos are what will give you a hard time. I lose my shield arm fastest when I have to deal with them because they spawn all over the place and they harass you to no end. What's more, because punching them isn't the most viable thing to do since they move around a lot, you end up having to spend ammo to keep them away. Not really a good use of your limited scattergun rounds. With a 10-minute cooldown between uses if not supported by the DSS, there's no doubt that you'll want to make the most of your time while in the breakthrough. Here are some helpful tips that might make your experience a little better. First, if you want to have a mech-centric game, I think bringing the shield generator backpack is really helpful since it activates even when you are in the mech. This effectively gives you a limited 150 extra health that regenerates in 12 seconds if it breaks. I know you have your actual shield to protect you from damage, but because the shield bubble protrudes outwards, it can block some damage to your chassis from angles that your shield can't cover. In my experience, this is most helpful against bots and tangibly extends the longevity of your mech against range fire and explosives. Speaking of shields, something I've learned while using the breakthrough is to use the shield icon to aim your melee attacks. Because your strikes come from the left side, you can gauge where your punches are going to land by placing the enemy roughly around the shield icon. This has helped me be more accurate with landing my hits rather than whiffing them because I misjudge where my attack would land. Third tip, use your scattergun as a means of crowd control. Even if enemies are a little too far from your effective range to one-shot, the scattergun still deals a lot of stagger. Enough, for example, to get groups of devastators to stop shooting at you for a moment or even stagger charges out of their animation before they start a charge. This buys you a little bit more time to get up close and personal with your shield bash. Fourth, one of the best ways to maintain your damage output is to reload your scattergun while you are engaged in melee. Reloading doesn't interrupt your attacks and attacking doesn't stop your reload. So for best results and to always ensure you have an answer for your problems, it's a good habit to build. Lastly, the best tip I can give you for using the breakthrough effectively is to have at least one other teammate nearby for support. As you've seen so far, you aren't afraid of walking up to a bunch of enemies and either caving their head in or blasting them into ribbons. Your main challenge is being surrounded by chaff from multiple angles because of your lack of mobility and range. By having a teammate nearby, you can protect them from the big problems like chargers, impalers, and hulks, while they can gun down smaller but annoying enemies to cover you. Even in my pub games, I just pick someone who's going off on their own and decide to follow them in my mech. When they know you can break the tougher enemies that usually need anti-tank, there's a sort of silent cooperation where they fall back to you as cover. The breakthrough is a unique mech in one key way. Every other mech will eventually burn through its ammo and be abandoned. This is not the same for the breakthrough. As long as you have your shield, you can plant yourself between your team and whatever is coming and stay there. Used right, you won't just survive the mission, but you'll be spearheading objectives while acting as a solid anchor for your team to fight around. Now that is a real breakthrough. I want to thank Daedalus372 for becoming my channel's first member. This means a lot to me, and I'm genuinely happy that you've enjoyed my content enough to support me directly. If you too would like to support the channel directly, you can always be a member. Doing so gives you the ability to help decide what videos I should make next. Memberships help grow the channel to be more sustainable for me, letting me create and explore more exciting content for you guys. Whatever the case may be, thank you for watching till the end, and I will see you in the next one. Helldivers.